What's up guys, my name's Dean, or as most of you know me, Twisty, and it's time to preview round 8. If you do enjoy today's video, please give a big thumbs up. Let's get stuck into it. First game is tonight. It is the Crows and the Cats up at the Adelaide Oval. For the Crows, Malera and goes in, Mackay goes out with a hamstring, and for the Cats, Buse and Gregson come in, Cockatoo and McCarthy go out with the knee and ankle injuries. So this is probably the match of the round, in my opinion anyway. I know Melbourne and the Bulldogs, pretty good game coming up, but this is two top 8 sides, or current top 8 sides, battling it out on Friday night footy. I think the Cats are going to be really, really strong. I've looked at the last 5 games these guys have played, and they've all been won by the home team. So I think it's 3-2 in Geelong's favour. But it's always been the team at home that's actually got the job done. And for some reason, I don't know what it is, but I'm going against that trend. I'm picking the Cats to win tonight. I don't know why. They've just been in ripping form there. And they're in-form team of the competition. One of the best defensive sides of the competition as well. And if Adelaide struggle to, get that ball out of their defensive half, that's generally where teams can stop them scoring. So I think Geelong will definitely be able to do that tonight, and they will pick up the win. The Crows are a very, very good side. I would not be surprised at all if they come up with the victory tonight. But I think the Cats just got a little bit more top-end talent. I think that they're just on the edge of a top 4 berth here. I think that they got a very soft draw come the second half of the season, so I think Geelong definitely going to be up there towards the end of the year. Anyway, moving on, we got Saturday. The early game is Essendon and North Melbourne. Connor McKenna, Patrick Ambrose, Kyle Langford and Darcy Parish come in for the Bombers, and they got 4 kind of forced changes. So Dempsey and Simpkin both had hamstring injuries, McKernan at the quad, and they have rested Gwilt. For North Melbourne, Lindsay Thomas, Mackenzie and Majak Daw come into the side. Higgins with the knee. That's going to be a 3-monther, I think. So he will not be back until somewhat around round 20. Danny Wells with the quad, and Farito has been rested. So this is, I don't pick Essendon. I'm never going to pick them, even if they win every game for the rest of the year. North Melbourne will get the job done. They'll be, I think, 9-0 if they win next week. They play Carlton. So, big, easy start for North Melbourne. They've had one of the softest draws for the first 9 rounds, but their second half of the season will really test them. So, the month coming up after this will generally be a very difficult one for North Melbourne, and then we'll actually be able to see where they're at amongst other top 8 sides. They've only played Adelaide at this stage, and I think the Western Bulldogs. So they've beaten those sides that have been put in front of them, and that's all they've got to do at this stage. But we'll wait and see how they go against maybe like a Hawthorn, or I don't know, maybe a Geelong. Geelong would be a really good matchup, I reckon, for North Melbourne. But North are going to win this one. This is going to be the biggest blowout of the round. Hawthorn and the Fremantle Dockers. They're kind of tanking already, aren't they, Freo? Like, Ross Lyon's like, oh, we're going to send a young team. You can kind of see that with their changes. Barlow and Zach Dawson's been omitted, everyone. Ross Lyon with the play of the round. I think they might actually get some wins under their belt now that that's happened. Matty Pav's been rested. Pierce, Clark and Langdon come in. And for the Hawks, they get back Frawley and Mitchell. Riola goes out with a family illness. And Lovell has been omitted for that one. But Hawthorn, they're going to slaughter Fremantle. They are like pigs to a slaughterhouse. Like, look at all those chickens. What else can I say? They're going to get absolutely destroyed. If the margin is anything less than 80 points, I will be very surprised. So, I think the Hawks, by a big margin at Aurora Stadium. We got the battle of the new kids now, the Giants and the Suns. The Giants got a lot of changes. I mean, the Suns have a lot of changes, so it's the battle of the new teams. Moore and Hopper comes in to make his potential debut. Oh, no, he is making his debut for the Giants. Very good player. Tim Moore, also a very good player, can replace Phil Davis, who goes out with a hamstring injury, and Toby Green kind of rested with some soreness there. And the Gold Coast Suns, gee, their injuries are shocking. Like, look at this. Out of these 6 changes, there's 4 forced. So, there's not really much you can do there. Leslie, Archie, Shaw, Matera, Nichols, and Brooksby come in. Curry goes out with a hip, Sexton with an arm, Clay Cameron with a knee, Matty Rosa with the hamstring, and then Shade and Garlett have been omitted. I mean, you just cannot get any luck at the Gold Coast Suns at the moment. It's also Nick Malcheski's 200th game at the Gold Coast Suns there. So, congratulations to Nick Malcheski. Most of them at the Swans, of course. But yeah, I couldn't put it on the screen. It just wouldn't fit. There's too many changes there for the Suns. The Giants will win this one fairly simply. And could be a big margin as well in that one. Now we look, this is an interesting clash. This is probably one of those bottom four side clashes that you get really intrigued about. The Lions and the Magpies. We'll get into that in a minute. Let's look at the changes. Merritt and Louis Taylor come in. Harris Andrews with a foot and Tommy Rockcliffe with a hamstring go out. For the Pies, Sinclair, Varco and Adams come in. Aish, Broomhead and Reed go out. So this is a really interesting game here because Brisbane Lions, they've been playing some really good football, but they've been up against some really quality sides as well, which sees them sitting at, I think, 1-6. But I think the Lions will win this game. They get Merritt and Taylor back in. Two really keys for them. I mean, I know they miss Rockcliffe, but they've got Beams back quite lately as well. So they will be in a really good spot here. I think the Lions. I think it's their game to lose. It's up at the Gabba. They play really well at the Gabba when they played round one last year. Collingwood only won by 2 goals. So I'm thinking Brisbane could get over the line in this one. I just think Collingwood, they're still too young a side, too much of a development team. They won't be good for, another year or maybe 2. So I'm thinking Brisbane can pull an upset off here. Go the Lions. You get it done. Alright, Saturday night, I'll be at this game. The Tigers and the Swans. Grimes, Rance come in for the Tigers. 2 defenders. McIntosh and Castagna go out. Camden McIntosh out for a couple of months, 8 to 10 weeks, with that ankle injury that he sustained at training this week, which is really disappointing because he's been a really good player this season so far. For the Swans, Richards and Towers come in, McGlynn and Robinson go out. So this is a very interesting one. I think the Tigers have won the last 2 between these sides, both of them in Sydney, one at ANZ, one at the SCG, but they're very different sides. But that being said, I am picking Richmond this week because I go for them and because I have no idea. I just got a feeling about this match. I had a feeling last week that Richmond would do much better. I know in the end it was 46 points, but they probably played their best football for 3 quarters. And if they can do that for a full game this week, I just think that an upset is looming. And I really hope I'm right. Come on, Richmond, you can get it done. But yeah, Rance comes back in to play on Buddy. That'll be a huge matchup. It'll be very exciting to watch. I always like watching Rance v Buddy. Very exciting matchup because they're very similar players in sort of their athletic ability and things like that. So it makes it a really good matchup to watch. And Teddy Richards comes back in for that Swan side, so he can help with Richmond's tall forward line, which is still pretty ugly at the moment. But yeah, I think if Richmond don't win, which is what I'm hoping wins, which is what I'm hoping happens, then I think the Swans will win by 4 to 5 goals. Could be that way, but yeah, I'm hoping the Tigers get over the line. I'm picking an upset in this one. And all right, that's enough Richmond talk. Let's move on to Sunday. Carlton play Port Adelaide. The Blues, Buckley, Graham and White come in. No changes to be omitted yet. And it's Cade Simpson's 250th game and Michael Jamison's 150th game. So congratulations to those Blues veterans. For the Power, Amon, Dougal Howard come back, and Sam Gray. Obviously no changes made for them yet, but could potentially happen. I'm thinking that Carlton, as good as they've been over the last 3 weeks, I think Port Adelaide, they're a much better side, but Carlton will definitely give it to them early. I think if they're not on their game, Port, they can drop this one very easily. They've been in a bit of form, Carlton. I mean, they've probably played the bottom 3 sides of the competition, but they're in a bit of form. So, you never know. Confidence is a powerful thing, and you never know what could happen. I'm hoping Carlton does really well, but I think Port Adelaide will just get over the line in that game on Sunday. Oh, I'm talking like I'm in New Zealand. Anyway, moving on, we got the Melbourne and the Dogs. It's a really good game as well. This will be playing at the MCG, first Bulldogs game away from Etihad Stadium for the season. Unbelievable how they can do that. But Christian Salem, Jack Grimes, Oscar McDonald, Neil Bullen come in. Kent goes out with a back injury. A couple of those may not play. They're on extended bench. For the Dogs, Dunkley, Honeychurch, Lin Jong, and Williams come in. Marcus Adams goes out. That's going to hurt a lot of people's super coaches. But this is a very, very interesting clash as well. Melbourne were, I think, the youngest team selected last week and absolutely destroyed the Gold Coast Suns. So they're doing very nicely. And the Dogs, they beat the Crows when I really didn't expect them to beat the Crows. I thought that maybe they were a little bit questioned with their depth. But the way that their game plan is that they can just have guys come in and they can play exactly the same way that they want to every week, week in, week out. And they've had really good replacements for the guys who have gone out. I think Lin Jong will be the one to play out of those four if of course, that's the only change that gets made. But the Dogs, you cannot go past the Dogs. I know it's at the MCG, but their fast brand of footy is very good, and they are the number one defensive side in the competition. I think maybe number two. They might be just behind Geelong, but they're very good defensively, the Dogs, and I think that they will get over the line against Melbourne. If Melbourne get a win here, then I will start to rate them. I mean, they've been very good for 7 games this season, but I just cannot call them yet as a side that is on that next step. Like, they're moving forward, but they have to take a big scalp to get to that next step. So I'm thinking the Dogs will get over the line in this one. And the final game of the round, West Coast will beat St Kilda because they're playing at home and they are the flat track bullies at home. And St Kilda is the perfect side that they would just destroy. Like a side, even though that they're somewhat on the up, West Coast just seem to destroy people at home. I don't know what it is. Bennell, Butler, Cole, McGinnity in. Jetta goes out. Probably a couple of weeks too late. And for the Saints, Templeton, Murdoch, Robertson, Sinclair, and Pearce come in. Minchington goes out. Is omitted, and Fisher is rested with some general soreness. So obviously the Eagles will win that one. Taking a look at my tips, I've gone on a couple of big risks this week. The Lions and the Tigers, most notably, and maybe even Geelong. You might consider that a bit of a risk because Adelaide's playing at home. But let me know what you think. I'm probably wrong on a couple of these games, but very interesting week of football coming up. I hope it's a biggie. I hope it's a good one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Leave a big thumbs up. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with a new Don Bradman video. So, see you guys then. Bye-bye.